twice, so I guess I'll finally do Blue Magus's girlfriend's video called Anita Sarkeesian is a Dirty Old Woman. God. I don't know if I should start yet. You live in the U.S. Answer me by chat. What the fuck is wrong with you? How did you get into my chat? You don't speak English? How did you find this channel? What? It's a helicopter looking for a Repsion? Yeah, that's what's happening. No, that's people mowing their lawns. And I'm just waiting for them to hurry up, I guess. I don't know. Wow.
On this video, I want to give a heads up, a trigger warning if you want to call it that. No amount of Xanax or Jägermeister has helped me throughout this bullshit news report, and only the sweet release of death could free me from this agonizing experience. I mean, just look at the like to dislike ratio. You know nothing good is going to come out of this. Look.
Isn't that the same thing Blue Magus said in his video? What do they just like copy each other with their own videos? What a bunch of lamers.
Like my video. I also want to go on a bit of a rant here that I absolutely hate the fact that major news outlets like ABC and NPR are giving recognition to Gamergate. Every single report I hear about this topic always sides with Zoe Quinn or Anita Sarkeesian. I'd like to point out that one.
Hello, Dark MTS. She did a commentary on Tubers 93 and it just evolved into the two calling each other stupid. Yeah, Marvels did a video on her. Yeah. Oh, thank you, finally.
This is not news. When The Daily Show and Redacted with Lee Camp are more informative than your news network, there's a problem. This is sensationalism more than anything. 2, I'd like to think they side with Zoe and Anita, not only because these are two professional victims, but it gives them an excuse to not do their fucking research and fail as journalists. It gives other journalists a reason to not be objective and opinionated. That's one reason why Gamergate is kind of a big deal to me. And finally, reports like this and faux feminists like Anita Sarkeesian completely erase a demographic of people like myself who have to put up with one woman speaking on behalf of us.
She's not you see how this just keeps coming up?
She's like the Jessie Jackson of female gamers, thinking she represents all female gamers, when in reality she represents all women with a bad sense of fashion with noses the size of her ego. With that out of the...
She has a big nose. She's a Jew. She wants all the shills and money from people. She's a whore. She's a dirty old woman. Great arguments, by the way. That's a lot coming from you. We'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, because some of us have seen what this person looks like. Okay, her commenting on anyone else's appearance, not a good choice.
Wait, let's watch what might possibly cause me to commit seppuku.
Violent depictions of women being beaten, raped, and run over by cars. It's not the movies, it's video games. And now the women calling for change in this multi-billion-dollar virtual industry are facing a very real backlash, including death threats. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Juju Chen.
Wow, what an impartial and just way to open up a news report. Clearly this will be fair and balanced.
For Anita Sarkeesian, this is the new normal. Armed escorts at public events, tracking her every move.
I'm so glad I spent my Kickstarter money on this.
That's not her. Yes, you spend money. You pay the police money to escort you. That's what you do.
I'm constantly aware of the fact that there's an enormous amount of hate directed towards me.
Yeah, because you're a fraud, you perpetuate myths, and you can't take criticism like you can't take jokes. Not to mention you're a privileged, entitled bitch. You talk about how toxic masculinity caused the school.
A woman from Iraq. Privileged. Okay.
Shooting, and you use that school shooting to make yourself look better.
No.
And you wonder why people hate you.
Hate in the form of
Nina Sarkeesian is talking about bomb threats and death threats against her. And you're saying, oh, you critique things. You wonder why people want to do that. Why people want to kill you. I wonder why. Probably because you're a bitch.
bomb threats, rape threats, even death threats.
Which might I add, she made up most of those threats. Not the bomb threat, but most of the death threats and the rape threats.
On this morning, hi,
And we're just supposed to believe you because...
Loyola University in Chicago. It's Anita's first speaking engagement since threats of a shooting massacre forced her to cancel her last appearance. All because this media critic dared to criticize something millions of us play every day.
Who plays video games?
Oh yes, how dare she critique video games. Oh, that little rebel she.
Video games.
Are you making fun of Gamergaters?
The threats making splashy headlines around the world on shows like Melissa Harris.
Hold up. You already made good sex of penises. I do not say N-U-S-T. I like this guy. Hello, Mr. Chiron 12. Yes, she used to be Dark Angel of the Light. Now she's Dragoonstuck. You can find her through Blue Magus's channels. Let's continue.
The threat of violence, all too real. And webcasts like Democracy Now! And HuffPost Live.
Violent threats for pointing out sexism in video games.
Yeah, here's the problem with that though. 1, she's not a gamer. 2, even...
We're just supposed to take your word again on what she identifies as because...
As an outsider looking in on a subculture, she's so negative towards that subculture instead of actually studying it. 3, her research on...
Those things don't correlate at all. You're negative about... Supposedly she's negative about a situation, and that means that you don't study a hobby. That doesn't make sense.
Said topics whenever she makes her videos because she's too fucking lazy to release her videos. It'll be 2050 by the time she's finished, and I'll have cybernetic limbs and a robot dog. Her research...
What does that have to do with anything?
Is so pathetic that I doubt she even knows how to read. She can't even articulate...
She doesn't know how to read now. Okay.
Any arguments worth a damn. And last but not least, this is not fucking news.
Things got heated, to say the least.
It's not news that a woman has been getting death threats, rape threats, and bomb threats daily because she has an opinion. Okay.
The harassment became part of what's now known as Gamergate.
Gamergate is not about harassment. It has never been about harassment. Please do not claim that this is
Of course you're going to say it's not about harassment.
about harassment, because it's not. If you did your research, you would know that.
You just justified the reason that she got harassed in the first place, so we're going to believe you on that, I guess? I don't know.
What started as an online spat about the ethics of gaming journalism quickly escalated into a full-blown culture war.
Because people like Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian can't take criticism worth a damn.
I'm sorry, but how is Zoe Quinn shown that she can't take criticism? I don't see that. The only thing I would see is that she apparently filed a DMCA on Monday night. But I would do the same thing if somebody was trying to get people to harass me off of my sexual life that was nobody else's business. And that video was a catalyst for people to harass and threaten to kill me and do a bunch of other things to me. I would try and get it taken down as well. But whatever.
Blown it out of proportion and make themselves out to be the victims. But go ahead.
But you admitted they were victims. You acknowledged that they got death threats and bomb threats.
Blame the nerds. It's always the nerds' fault.
Women shouldn't be mere disposable objects or symbolic pawns in stories about men.
And a small but hardcore group of gamers resisted to change.
I think you mean anyone who has actually played a video game.
God ordained that it is
What?
one man, one joystick.
But Gamergate doesn't just affect boys playing in a basement.
Oh yeah, because anyone who refutes Anita Sarkeesian's arguments are guys living in their parents' basements. That's totally fair.
The stakes
She's saying that it's not those people that are playing games.
are much higher than you might think. We're now spending more money on games than movies and music combined, to the tune of $21 billion. And what might surprise you, there are now more adult women playing video games than there are teenage boys.
So if there are more women playing video games, then what's the issue? It can't be about sexism, because if video games were sexist, people like me wouldn't be playing them.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
We're talking about fantastical scenarios like the ones in BioShock, and epic adventures in games like Mirror's Edge. What is it exactly that's so disturbing in some video games?
You know, if there was slavery and racism, then why are black people in America?
That's making women like Anita willing to face death threats.
You want to know what it really is? Because she doesn't know how to play video games, so she pulls the woman card.
Just when you think you hit the worst example or the most misogynist example, you find another one.
All of which I made up. Donate to my Patreon.
Escapism is big business. More than half of us are already playing games like this one, Grand Theft Auto 5. But critics say in these virtual worlds, things often take a turn toward the dark side. As a player, you can solicit a prostitute, kill her, and if that's not enough, you have the option to run her over.
The sense of violence against women being used as almost background decoration, right? As texture to make an environment gritty, more real.
Even though you can beat up and kill just about everyone else in Grand Theft Auto and games just like Grand Theft Auto.
There are plenty of games that aren't violent or sexualized.
Women in that game, or a lot of the part, are specifically used as sexual objects for the player to act upon. The only ways you can interact with the women in these games is by soliciting them for sex or running them over and committing violence upon them.
But some of the best-selling games are especially egregious. On her website, Anita dissects these games.
Developers regularly utilize the brutalization of women's bodies, and especially the bodies of female prostitutes.
I hate cutting away like every 5 seconds.
She did make a Filthy Frank reference. If the games were sexist, I wouldn't play them. Oh, God. Yeah, Anita actually does research. No, you don't need extensive knowledge of video games for that. Yeah, the way she critiques them in a lot of aspects are for the tropes. So that's a storyline thing. It doesn't need a particularly good sense of knowing the gameplay mechanics if the story and what drives the player is the main critique she has. But whatever. They're retarded anyway. Sargon's too stupid. Can't do that. Comentario de video. I can't speak Spanish.
But before I go on, I'm going to show you guys some of the best-selling games, not just of this generation, but of all time too. I'm going to show you guys some footage of some bestsellers, and I want you to judge whether or not they're sexist.
I'll teach you in one.
That was it? You had like, what, 6 games? Really? Okay, here's your example. Chrono Trigger, Pac-Man, which doesn't have any characters in it at all, but okay. Sonic, which has no characters again that are male or female. It's just fucking animals, but okay. Mario, Pokemon, okay. Mario, which has a damsel in distress trope, okay. Final Fantasy VII, which has a lot of scandally women, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Legend of Dragoon, and some other game. That's it? And you couldn't even pick games that didn't have the damsel in distress trope? You still failed at that? Okay. Right.
Inherent misogyny in the gaming world.
I found 4 examples where this doesn't exist. 2 of them don't have males or females in them whatsoever.
I'll teach you.
In Watch Dogs, she points out how women are murdered to give the hero a reason to chase down a bad guy.
It gets worse and worse. It reinforces this idea of women as sexual objects, right? It reinforces this idea of women as playthings for their amusement.
No, Anita, it doesn't. Because there's a fine line between fantasy and reality. Most sane people know not to go out and shoot people. This doesn't.
What? So you're not going to disprove her argument. Okay.
Reinforce any toxic masculinity and sexism. But I guess it's okay to shoot guys, but God forbid you can shoot women too.
And it's this kind of talk that makes her a target.
And that's when the sort of cyber mob, right, the hate mob.
She's critiquing that. She's critiquing that you're shooting a man because of the motivation that he killed a woman. She's critiquing that. All of it. You moron.
Guarding her with mostly anonymous tweets and messages. I will rape you when I get the chance. Hiding behind usernames and claims of free speech. I'm sitting outside your apartment with a loaded gun. Your neighbors won't hear you screaming in pain.
No, these are all made up, though, so it's all made up. It's all made up.
Oh no, anonymous threats. It's not like I can turn off the computer or anything.
Oh, somebody is posting my address and saying that they're going to shoot me. I'll just turn off my computer and ignore it. Okay.
One even created a grotesque game where players can beat.
That's actually really disgusting. The beat up Anita Sarkeesian game. That's actually really disgusting. I'd love to see her defend that.
Punch a picture of her face. Ow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nobody gives a shit if you make a flash game based off physical violence against a woman's face because you have a different opinion than her. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm sorry that you're permanently disfiguring somebody's face because you disagree with them. That's not disgusting at all. No, nobody cares.
But the virtual harassment.
I could see why nobody sides with you since you have these arguments that nobody cares that somebody is disfiguring somebody's face because they have a disagreement with them. Yeah, okay.
Turned very real when her online.
I have no idea why people don't like Gamergate. Huh? We just like to beat up women in our flash games.
Attackers published her social security number, her home address, and she's not.
But it's all fake.
Oh dear God, anything but Tumblr's sweet transvestite.
No, how did you ignore that? Why did you just say, oh, it was fake that she just released her fucking... I got the flailing arm syndrome. Oh, fake releasing of her social security.
They told me they were coming to kill me. They told me specifically they don't want to castrate me.
I thought they were gone. They're coming in for round 2.
My husband,
Women like Brianna Wu, an independent game developer, was even driven out of her home, all for simply tweeting her opinion.
You serious?
Yeah, let's not forget how Brianna is a professional victim like Anita Sarkeesian, has done jack shit in game developing, and has told...
She's a game developer. What are you talking about? She develops games. What are you talking about? Done jack shit. She's released a game already.
terminally ill person to go fuck herself.
when someone
So you didn't disprove that. Continue.
post your address online and they tell you they're going to murder your whole family, you don't really feel safe staying in that location.
Even though that was something you did for publicity.
So far,
One more time.
In developing and has told a terminally
Murder your whole family, you don't really feel safe staying in that location.
even though that was something you did for publicity.
so
So her family gets threatened with death threats. And she moves because of that. But she didn't. She did it for attention. Okay.
far, the Gamergate harassment against Brianna and other women like her has remained online. But the FBI is taking it seriously enough that it started a file.
You're getting the Federal Bureau of Investigation in on this. Don't they have enough shit to worry about instead of some transgender woman being harassed online? And I use the term
I don't know if you noticed, but death threats and bomb threats are illegal and against the law. So, yeah.
harass loosely because it's a bunch of people name calling her online.
No. This media has seen the evidence of her death threats, bomb threats, and rape threats, which are illegal, and it's under the jurisdiction of FBI's workload that they have to deal with.
I'm so hesitant to use the phrase terror because I think it's such a politically loaded word, but it's terrorism on women in this industry. It's scaring every single one of us.
Really? We're going to compare a bunch of nasty comments that you get on Twitter
The rape and death threats, they're just nasty, though.
to terrorism. To terrorists.
Terrorists who threaten to rape and kill people. Sounds a lot different.
But have killed people, like in 9/11. This woman.
Okay, things like 9/11 happened. Alternatively, Gamergate has sent a bomb threat to one of Anita Sarkeesian's thing. But they're not terrorists.
And is fucking me.
Why such hate? Why such anger?
So much difference between them.
I think a lot of it comes from this idea that gaming is a male-dominated space, right? And that games are for men by men. It's a very misogynist backlash. We are not meant to be treated with respect.
The foolishness of that.
Plot twist, the lawn people are Rant God fans who do the lawn through snow and rain just to hear the Rant God live in person. That's the best comment I've ever seen in my life. So, subscribe to Diabetic Lion's channel right now, please. Gigi has the attention of a congresswoman now, calling for the FBI to not treat harassment as lesser crimes. I've heard of something like this. This congresswoman who is wanting to treat online harassment and death threats as serious threats and for them to be prosecuted, I believe. Ooh. Unfortunately, FBI is slow to indict these people. Yeah. They are. If they would actually indict these people, it would help out a lot. Getting rid of harassment in any manner is definitely going to help everything. It's not going to hurt anything.
That comment is so deep, I can only ascribe it to higher education. You have to have gone to college to say something that stupid.
Something even the casual female gamer is sadly familiar with. Watch what happens when the men in this online session of Counter-Strike learn that there's a woman playing in their midst.
Are you an archaeologist? Because I have a big bone. She's handling this is pretty lady. If I subscribe, you kiss.
It's less brutal than what Anita and Brianna experienced, but it does show the ease with which offensive behavior is tossed out at women.
Oh no, how dare they flirt with her and make comments about their
How dare they sexually harass her? Yes.
penises. It's not like every other guy in the world does this.
Which makes it okay that, because every other guy sexually harasses women online, then it's okay. Definitely. And that's definitely what every guy does. Let's just generalize all males.
Conspiracy and scheme, you know what I mean? Huh? Sexy lady, huh?
I'm really just here to play, like everybody else.
But she's not treated like everyone else, which is at the heart of Gamergate. Media critics argue women like Stephanie need to stop being abused as players in the real world and as avatars in the virtual world.
God forbid that we treat women like we do each other, like in a respectful manner. Let's hear her try and debate this, shall we?
It's neither abuse nor harassment. Those are just guys flirting, which many people do online
Yes, people flirt by sexually harassing women online. That's definitely how that works.
and offline. Making comments about your dick is hardly the worst thing you could do to
No, sexually harassing women is okay.
someone.
And given that women make up nearly half of this
They like it sometimes, too.
country's gamers,
I thought we were done.
this isn't a feminist issue, it's just smart business.
The demographics should be a huge wake-up call to executive gaming companies because there is a huge amount of money to be made out of taking women seriously and out of demonstrating to women that you are taking them seriously.
We've reached out for comment multiple times to Rockstar Games, Ubisoft, the companies behind these games, to ask about the way women are portrayed. But thus far, we've received no reply.
Because once again, this is a non-issue and nobody gives a shit.
It's a non-issue, but you care about it. Gamergate cares about it. The SJWs care about it. The media cares about it. Well, whatever.
Nobody should give a shit.
And yet there are some signs of change in the gaming community.
It's time to just realize things from a different perspective. It's time to see how would someone else, how would a woman look at this?
Tim, come on, man. Have some fucking dignity. You made Psychonauts.
More and more developers want
Tim Schafer is a very creative individual. He's a very respectful man in the industry. And your response to him not siding with you is, have some dignity? That's it? A very experienced man in the video game development industry is going to suddenly take some loser's opinion on a YouTube video. Right. Okay, yeah.
Like Tim Schafer are seeing the need for more women programmers and more girl-friendly games, like Broken Age.
Notice how they said girl-friendly.
I mean, once you sat down and tried to play the game with your daughter and tried to find games where she could play a character that she identifies with, you start to feel bad about not putting that option in your own games.
Even Lara Croft, the famous Tomb Raider, got a makeover. More clothes, less curves.
Yeah, how dare they sexualize characters even though sex sells and it's one of the most natural things ever. Also, girls
That means we should have every game display this because...
can play whatever the fuck they want. Chrono Trigger, The Legend of Dragoon, the Final Fantasy series, and even stuff like Street Fighter and King of Fighters are good for girls. Us?
No, they're not. What are you talking about? They're sexualized adult women that have no characters at all. I'm sorry if you really think those RPGs have any good characters for women. They don't. Legend of Dragoon is a very bad example.
Women don't need special treatment. Representation is good and all, but why can't games aim at both guys and girls? Isn't it
That's what they're asking for.
sexist to say girls need special kinds of games instead of playing the same
Why
game?
do guys need special kind of games? Why do they need a game that tailors it directly towards them? Why would it be a problem if there was games geared towards women? Why can't they appeal to both?
That guys do?
I remember playing Tomb Raider Guardian of Light, and it was produced by a woman, and it was like a really good game. The game did well, so we're gonna see that.
You know, they mentioned that, but there's also critique for that game, and I'm surprised she's not bringing that up, but whatever.
The majority of gamers, like Chris Scott, manager of 8-Bit and Up, condemn Gamergate's threats of violence.
Which one is he?
But he's not alone in believing critics like Anita exaggerate the problem.
She's trying to capitalize on controversy.
He also says the gaming world on the whole
What?
shouldn't be judged by a few extreme examples.
When people complain about games like Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, or whatever, it's similar to complaining about hip-hop and rap music today, saying, well, it's violent. That's not what hip-hop is.
She hasn't even used any of those games in her examples. What are you just... More example of people just pulling shit out of their...
You can't judge gaming by what's selling. You have to really get into the medium to understand it before you start saying, well, this is what gaming is about.
Scott suggests, at the end of the day, they're just games.
I know in the real world there are strong women that don't need to be saved.
How do you respond to critics who say, well, this is fantasy, this is not reality, you have to lighten up? Yeah, that's a funny argument.
Oh, this is the end of that video.